The New York Knicks are a team where I really want to see this team succeed in the league. Sometimes you just look at a team and say, I feel bad. This team is bad and suffered for way too long. The Knicks had a good offseason. Granted, I wish they moved Julius Randle, but I don't believe the market is high for him. They did good by not overpaying for another guy in free agency. They had their eyes on Gordon Hayward, Fred VanVleet, and it wasn't necessary to really sign them. Next season is going to be another development tanking type year, and it doesn't make sense to sign a huge contract to these guys attached with the Julius Randle one. So good. No big signings. Tom Thibodeau is their coach, and they brought in Obi Toppin in the draft. And the pick just made sense. He's a Brooklyn guy, and even from a joking standpoint of, they have too many power forwards, it made sense to fit that narrative as well. But in reality, they cut their power forward depth, cut in Portis and Taj Gibson, and Toppin provides a much needed floor spacer and a plus athletic offensive player. Still needs to grow as a defensive player, but he has a defensive coach to help him out. I didn't really see this team drafting a point guard in the lottery because I expect RJ Barrett to be a main ball handler next season, or they bring in a vet point guard. And they weren't passing up Toppin if they fell to them. They also drafted Emmanuel quickly, and I don't know if he gets strong minutes but can be a young guard to grow with this team. They still have Jared Harper, Frank Ntilikina, and Dennis Smith Jr., and also the team signed Austin Rivers, who is a combo guard. Frank, I expect to grow into a 3-and-D combo guard similar to Marcus Smart. Dennis Smith Jr. is a question mark, and I'm a guy who's seen the highs and lows of Dennis even from being with the Mavs. He lacks a lot of what every point guard needs in this day and age: shooting, playmaking, and creating offense consistently. I'm on the fence about him, and he really needs to turn everything around because I can see him out of the league soon if he doesn't. And that hurts me saying that because I really like Dennis as a player. And in his media day session, he did say it was a productive offseason for him, getting better mentally, and he had a lot of time to work on his game, and everyone on the Knicks as well too. But he needs to have a bounce back year. It's a must right now for him. They brought in Elfrid Payton to most likely start. He's a playmaker but lacks shooting. The thing the Knicks need the most is spacing. It was terrible last season, and if RJ is the man, he needs spacing around the court to operate. RJ, I expect to grow more of his game, and he has to be annoyed being snubbed from an all-rookie team. And I feel he is a better player than what was advertised last season. He does need to grow as a ball handler and a shooter on this team because he could be a very good two-way player if he reaches that next level in the coming years. The team still has Kevin Knox, and he's another guy who really has to have a bounce-back year because he wasn't looking the best over the years. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Amari Spellman was brought in, and really just to be guys off the bench to contribute to the team. I like the Nerlens Noel signing. He is a good backup big next to Mitchell Robinson. And Mitch has to grow as a center here. Cut down those fouls. Grow offensively. They have the big man whisperer, I love that nickname, and Kenny Payne to help unlock Mitch's full potential. They signed Alec Burks, and he is a shooter, floor spacer for this team, and may start at the forward spot, as well as Reggie Bullock, who they brought back. They also have Ignas Brazdeikis. Don't know if Ignas gets minutes next year, but he's another young piece on this team. The starting lineup may be Payton, RJ, Alec Burks, Toppin, and Robinson. But knowing the Knicks, Randle will probably start in place of Toppin. Overall, there's a lot to be optimistic about this team. They have the young growing talent. They have defensive potential. They have guys with chips on their shoulders who have to prove themselves. But this team has to show next season who they are. What is their identity? Are they taking strides to be a defensive team? What are their defensive principles? Or they just really need to build as a good offensive team as well? Are they going to be a fast-paced team or slow-paced team? How do their pieces complement each other? Is RJ Barrett the set man for this team? Is Obi Toppin the secondary man? What makes this team different than years past? Are they going to roll over and lose or start being competitive? It took a couple of seasons for the team next door in New York to build an identity and culture, and it attracted Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving right off the bat. So, what are the New York Knicks? This is what will make free agents look the Knicks' way, build that team identity and culture. It's now or never. It's time to stop relying on the beautiful city of New York to be your drawn case for free agents, because it means nothing. It means nothing when you have little championships and little playoff appearances and lack of winning over the course of 20 years. Build a culture first and everything else will follow. Everything else will fall in line. The fact that the Nets got 2 star-level talents after rebuilding for a shorter time than the Knicks should annoy fans and the organization. The Knicks have a poor reputation, but can they turn that around? They certainly can, and Leon Rose is showing hope. They did a good job in free agency staying away from that, but let's not make the poor mistakes of the past and continue to build on this team.